Okay, this is for question 3. So I pasted this in from some notes that I had. So the way that you write that that function there, so they want their proper expression for that distribution. And so the way you write this is x is approximately, and then the n is for normal distribution, and um, the mu there is the mean, and then the sigma is the standard deviation. So in this case here, this is going to be n. Let's try that again. So n, and then the mean here is 64 inches. That's our average. And then the standard deviation is 2.0. So that's how you write that out. So that's how you write those expressions out. But the second problem here, so you have to calculate a couple of probabilities here. So I'm going to send you another video that does, I think, a little better job explaining this. So this is off a website that that I use and that I teach from now. Anyway, it describes how to, some of the theory behind this, and then how to actually make the calculations on a TI-84 calculator, and also in a spreadsheet. So I'll send that along. But basically what we're trying to do here, we have a normal distribution. Okay, so we have a normal distribution here. The mean is 66 inches, and it's got a standard deviation of 2.5. And so they want to find the probability that the person is between these two heights. So we're going to have to calculate two probabilities here and then subtract one. So if we look at, and this is kind of my crappy drawing here, but if this is a normal distribution, I don't know, it doesn't look like that. But, and this is our mean here. So our mean here is going to be 66. Okay. And then if we look at the two values that we're looking at, so we have 63.5. 63.5 is going to be somewhere over here. And then the other height is 68.5, so it's going to be somewhere over here. And what we're trying to calculate here is the probability in between those two areas, okay? Now, the issue here is that when we calculate the probability using that normal distribution, it's going to give us all the values that are less than this, okay? And all the values that are less than this. And we want the area in between them. So what we're going to do is we're going to calculate the probability. So we're going to find the probability of it being 6.85 inches, and the probability of someone being 6.35 inches, and we're just going to subtract those from each other, all right? And that'll give us this area in between here. So, so the way that we're going to do that is we're going to use the spreadsheet for that. Spreadsheet, I think, is the easiest way to do this. So I'm just using Google Sheets. I don't know what the requirements are for your class, but if you have a graphing calculator, TI-84, you can look up the instructions for that, or it'll be in the video, the other video that I include, or if you're using Excel, or if you're using some other sort of online calculator. But anyway, so here's the way that you do it. So to calculate the first one, I'm going to use this. I'm going to type in equals and then norm dist, so normal distribution, and then it tells me my parameters there. So underneath here, it says I need X. So this is my value. So I'm going to go 68.5. Okay, so 68.5. So I'm going to do the bigger one first. Okay, and then the mean here is 2.5, comma, and then the standard deviation is, I'm sorry, the mean was 66. 66. The standard deviation is 2.5, and then the cumulative, so we want to use a cumulative one, so we want to turn that on, so we type in 1 for that. Okay, so that's the probability that someone will be less than 68.5 inches, okay? we're going to do the same thing here, except this time we're going to use 63.5. So we're going to go equals norm dist, and then our value is 63.5. The mean is 66. The standard deviation is 2.5. And we want to turn cumulative on. And so there's the probability that someone would be less than 63.5. So for someone to be in between these, it's just going to be the difference of these. So I'm just going to subtract one from the other. I'm going to take this value and I'm going to subtract this value. And so there's my probability. And they don't say how many decimal places. I would probably go out 3 decimal places, so I'd round that to 0.682. Okay, so my probability that we're going to be between these two heights, the probability is going to be, so the probability of 63.5 68.5 is going to be 0.682. So 0.682. I apologize for my handwriting there, but 0.682. So hopefully that that answers that question for you. And so I'll send this video, and I'll send a link to another video that does, I think, a little better job than I did of explaining how this works, and I'll show you an example there. So, okay.